June in style. Two great drinking events in Lincoln. First, this Friday, come down to Beer House's grand opening as they show off their expansion to double the size of their building. The party starts at 3 p.m. with live polka music at 7. And on Saturday, make plans to head on over to Sideshow Spirits and Cider for the first annual Nebraska Whiskey Carnival. Enjoy local Nebraska distilleries and their spirits, food vendors, and more. Event starts at 3 p.m. Buy your tickets ahead of time at sideshowspirits.com.
This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. Happy Tuesday. Hope the long weekend was good. Nick Sainert, Rico, joining you here on the Happy Hour. Rico, hello.
Hello.
How was the long weekend, sir?
Dude, it was great. You know what I found out that I really like using? A Sawzall.
What is it?
It's just like a mini.
Explain to the folks.
I don't know how to explain it really. I'm sure the folks know how to explain it better than I do. It's just like a little mini saw, but instead of like a chainsaw where it goes like around the whole thing, it's like a little it like goes in and out of the little machine and like saws.
A Sawzall.
Sawzall.
How did you figure out that it was the Sawzall? Because I have a feeling that you just said I enjoy using the law.
Saw. It was because it was
a Sawzall.
It's my father-in-law's. And
okay.
Because me and Rachel were there for the weekend,
yep.
And we're helping out and we're clearing some trees out because we're doing some stuff up at the farm, and we needed to clear some of the little trees out and clear some of the branches. And I was like, I'll use it, because they were like, oh, we can use it. I was like, I'll do it. I was like, I've never used it before,
yep.
But I'll try it out. And it was really fun. And I'm not going to say that I got a little carried away because we did get permission, but we cleared out a lot of branches.
See, it's always fun.
And my forearms are sore because the thing just like you hold the trigger, and it just like the saw's going in and out, so the whole thing's vibrating. So your arms are vibrating when you're cutting through the thing. So my forearms just sore.
It's one of those things. It's just like the self-propelled motors, where be mowed the way, but it's things you just have to kind of guide it.
Mm-hmm.
And not actually move it,
mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. Because it's going to go on its own. You just kind of got to guide it to where you want to go. 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline. The Starter Heyman text line, both those open for you guys the entire show, as well as Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Allo, channel 951. If you want to watch us on your television sets. We've got a couple thoughts already. Shout out to Chase B for being the first text of the show. Thomas Lincoln says, wow, Nick, you're not ditching your show. Thomas Lincoln, those days are over.
Nick is here to stay.
I'm here to stay. Haven't had a full work week yet since then, but next week will be the full work week. Rico made sure to let me know.
I let him know
that this is I took Thursday and Friday off 2 weeks ago,
mm-hmm.
and we had I took Monday off last week.
This wasn't by choice.
This week was not by choice.
Nobody has a full work week.
Nobody has a full work.
Nobody here. Some people have full work.
Yes. And shout out to the folks for working during Memorial Day and for the people that celebrate Memorial Day as well. Brian T, agree with Rico. Swazalls are next level. Sawzall. Our next level fun toys.
Very fun. I want one. And Rachel said, what are you going to use it for in Lincoln? I said, I don't know. Maybe I'll start a side business.
You guys don't have any trees.
No, I'll start a side business. I will buy a Sawzall, and I will come to your house, and I will trim your trees for, I don't know. I need to find good prices.
I think it's interesting.
How much should I charge people?
Ooh.
Because it's not really like a tree.
Know.
It's not like really a tree thing. Like it's more of like small branches. I'm not going to trim like a whole, like, a massive branch on a huge tree. But if you got some bushes or some little trees that are growing out of control, I got you.
You just want to
I just want to use it. It's fun.
I'm not sure you would use a Sawzall to trim up a bush.
Yeah. Well, not like shape a bush. Like I'm not doing that.
Okay.
But like if you've got, the branches are growing out a little too far, just
Okay.
get
Gotcha.
that all taken care of.
Chase BS, when will you upgrade to a chainsaw?
I could have, but I never used a chainsaw before. Granted, I'd never used a Sawzall before, and I was scared, so I didn't want to use a chainsaw.
Good choice. Joe B, good luck on your fishing trip to Minnesota. I'm a little jealous of that. Unnamed texter says it's pronounced Sawzall. You city boys. That's
Sawzall.
from Riley.
Sawzall.
No L.
I'm gonna keep using the L because it saws all. Haha.
Nice. You can get them at your. I'm looking up the prices. It looks like you need to spend around $120.
I can do that.
Okay. Cool. If you buy at a certain establishment, you get $10 off. So, once again, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the starter handed text line. Hizzlebear says, for someone that uses a Sawzall all day, if you say all the letters of that word, everyone that also uses a Sawzall would know you don't use a tool like that on the regular.
I do not.
So
he said, say it. Sawzall. Yeah, but Sawzall sounds funner. It's more fun to say. Sawzall.
Okay. Well, anyway,
let me say the L's.
Let's go ahead and move on here. Let's go ahead and move on because we've had enough of this. A lot of people have thoughts on tree trimming toys, and the best part is trimming down the branches. The worst part is actually picking up the branches off the ground. I just wanted to put that out there.
It is.
So Nebraska baseball. We got a good show lined up. We're going to talk a little Husker baseball, a little just baseball committee in general, just because the regional field is set. And I have some thoughts. It seems like with every collegiate sport now, there are issues with the selection committee.
The ranking systems.
Or the way that the things they prioritize, if you will.
It's both things put into one.
Yeah.
The way things are ranked, the metrics used to rank said things, and whatever committees are put in charge of determining the play or the postseason field for whatever sport it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's issues all around. And I mean, you would think that there are going to be issues regardless of what type of postseason metrics or committees you use. But it seems, at least this year, that it's been kind of consistently not bad, just consistently hated on or talked about in a negative light in every NCAA sport this year.
But first, so this will come from the same website that a lot of people will look at when you're talking about college basketball. The warrennolan.com is the website that you use to look at the RPI team sheets. Okay, it's called. And it separates up your games in quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, and quad 4 opponents. And this, because just like in basketball, baseball uses a lot of the now obviously basketball uses the net, but in baseball it's RPI. And so these quad 1 wins, quad 3 losses, those all play a factor in obviously your RPI, which plays a factor into the decision making of whether or not a specific program makes the regional or the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. And so Nebraska obviously misses out on the tournament, but we always talk about, all right, the lack of opportunities when you're in the Big Ten Conference. And we always just kind of throw that on there as a blanket statement, but never really have, I should say, numbers behind it. Well, now we do. And so I was looking earlier today. Nebraska finishes 97th in the RPI with a 33-23-1 record this season. And they only played 9 opponents that are under that quad 1 category, if you will. Mm-hmm. They had a 2-7 record against those opponents in those 9 games. Rico, can you name the 3 opponents?
Vanderbilt.
Okay.
Did they play TCU this year?
They did not. It's 2 Big Ten teams.
2 Big Ten. Maryland.
Yep.
Iowa.
Yes.
I say I don't have to.
So they're 2-7 against those teams. They beat Vanderbilt back on March 3rd in Minnesota, in the US Bank Stadium. They beat the Vandy boys 5-3, and then they beat Maryland back on May 6th, 12-10. and that was before they lost 20-5 the following day. And after they lost 8-4 the previous day.
Yeah.
But other than that, they lost 3 games against Iowa, and then they lost the other 2 neutral site games against Maryland, 2-1 and 4-2. So Nebraska is 2-7 against quad 1 wins, or quad 1 opponents, excuse me. But then you look at quadrant 3 and 4, and I posted these photos of actually the screenshots of the teams we're going to be talking about on my Twitter. So if you're sitting at a desk and want to follow along with us, feel free to pull it up. But at quad 3 and quad 4, Nebraska played a combined 26 opponents in quad 3 and quad 4. Or that is very wrong. Excuse me. They were 11-8 against quadrant 3 opponents.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the teams Nichols, San Diego, Abilene Christian, Michigan, Creighton, South Alabama, and Penn State. In quadrant 4, Nebraska played 20 games, and they were 14-6 against those opponents. And it's North Dakota State, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Illinois State, Purdue, Minnesota, South Dakota State, Northwestern, Omaha, and Northern Colorado.
I think 14-6 is pretty good, but
not when you're 2-7
in quad 1
against quad 1 and you're 6-2 against quad 2.
If you're 7-2 in quad 1,
it's different.
It's okay. It's not great still, but it's better.
But once again, rather than, I guess, looking at records, and maybe this is my fault for presenting it that way, rather than looking at records, more importantly, Nebraska played, 9 + 8, 17 total games out of their, quick math here, 33, 23, 53, 57 games. Out of their 57 games, Nebraska played 17 from quad 1 and quad 2. Very small percentage.
Yeah, it's not great. That's what happens when you play a bunch of northern schools that aren't high in.
Well, it's also the conference
in
that you're
RPI.
playing.
Yeah, I mean, most of your games are going to be played in the Big Ten Conference, where, as we've stated before, isn't the strongest baseball conference. They have three teams in the NCAA tournament, but it's still, you look at some of the other conferences with a lot more teams in. It's impressive, but it's not that impressive.
Well, and this is where, once again, the whole, I guess, lesson here is the margin for error when you're in the Big Ten Conference is so small.
Razor thin.
Because Nebraska, once again, and putting the records aside, I did pull up like Vanderbilt's, and I also pulled up Kentucky. Now, yes, they have a top 10 RPI ranking, but once again, putting the rankings and the records aside and just looking at sheer opportunity, you look at Vanderbilt, who, remember, Nebraska played 17 games total against quad 1 and 2 opponents. Vanderbilt plays 35 games against simply quad 1 opponents. And you want to throw in,
goodness gracious,
48 games, 48 of Vanderbilt's 59 games were played against quad 1 and quad 2 opponents. Now, the bigger reason for that is because you have Kentucky, Arkansas, Florida, South Carolina, Bama, Auburn, Tennessee, all in the SEC, all teams that you play year in and year out that are in that quad 1.
Mm-hmm.
And same vice versa. If you look at Florida's, they're going to play a lot more quad 1 games because because the opponents that they play in the SEC are going to be in that quad 1. And it's basically just a revolving door. But then you also look at the non-conference opponents that they played. Vanderbilt played Indiana State, who ended up hosting a regional.
Mm-hmm.
They played Oklahoma State, who ended up getting into the regional. You played Texas, who's in a regional. TCU, Maryland, Louisville. All those teams are in the regional. So even when you're a Vanderbilt and you're playing 35 quad 1 opponents, you're still beefing up your non-conference to a certain extent, because you understand the benefits.
Now, I will say that in terms of that, beefing up your non-con, those teams are going to want to play Vanderbilt, because if they happen to beat Vanderbilt,
yes,
that counts as a quad 1.
Well,
if Nebraska were to go to Texas or TCU and something. And I understand that they've played TCU before. But if they go to these schools in the non-con, when those schools already have, tournaments or series scheduled against a Vanderbilt, a Florida, a Tennessee, whatever, and Nebraska comes knocking and it's like, hey, would you like to schedule a non-con, series against us? They're like, no, because if we beat you, it does nothing for us.
Well, and so here is there might be some pushback on top of that from the side of, if you are, let's see, if you're Nebraska in this case, you may go to Vanderbilt or go to Arkansas and get swept early in the season. But what does that mean? That doesn't benefit you. However, on the contrary, it does, because the perfect example is Oklahoma State, who I also posted. Oklahoma State in the Big 12 is 14-13 against quad 1 opponents. Now, obviously, Big 12 conference plays a factor in that. TCU, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Texas, West Virginia are all included in that top 50 RPI. But you know what Oklahoma State did do in order to get them into the regional, because that 14-13 conference record doesn't really do a whole lot for you in the committee's eyes, is that they went 22-2 against quad 3 and 4 opponents. They have lost out of 24 games, they lost 2 games, and it was both quad 3 opponents to Wichita State and Loyola Marymount. But Oklahoma State went 14-0 in games against quadrant 4 opponents. You take care of business, because every single program, Nebraska included in this, is going to have to play quad 3 and quad 4 opponents. And Nebraska and a lot of colder weather states and programs are going to have to play more quad 3 and quad 4 opponents than maybe, obviously, a team in Texas or a team in the southeastern part of the state or country. I get that. I'm not trying to say woe is us for having, or woe is Nebraska for having to play so many more colder weather teams. But the purpose of this conversation is to just visually see how little room for error there is when you're a team in the Big Ten Conference. Because Nebraska, in this case, if they were around 500 in quad 1 wins, they can't really do anything, unfortunately, about the only being able to play 9 quad 1 teams. But you could do something about the 39 quad 3 and quad 4 teams that you did play. And instead of going 25-14-1 in those games, you could have went 32-7 or 30-9 in those games. And that changes not only your record, obviously, but in terms of development for midweek pitching, in terms of just momentum across the board. But you look at the sheet and you see a 10-7 loss to Nichols. You see a sweep, a 3-game sweep, and then a game that's tied with San Diego to start the year. Nebraska lost the first game 5-3. They lost the second game 10-9. They lost the third game 7-3. And then they tied the final game, and they had to tie it and stop it due to travel restrictions.
They were out there too long.
Do you remember the score of that game?
Wasn't it like double digit? I wanted to say 7-7, but it was higher.
It was higher. 16-16.
Yeah.
That they were tied at 16.
Was that a women's basketball game at that time?
And so, once again, it's kind of a mixture of two conversations blended into one, I suppose, because it's the margin for error is so small when you're a team like Nebraska, because you're not going to get very many opportunities to play quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 teams. Even teams in the Big Ten are not going to sometimes be in quadrant 2.
I think the only way that you're going to be able to do that is if you're willing to play 3-game series at Vanderbilt, at Baum-Walker early in the season, which I'm not saying that Nebraska isn't, but early season, they go to these tournaments. They go,
which is what you need to do.
And you need to do that. But the tournaments that they're going to, you've got Nicholls State and you've got, some of those other smaller schools, whereas the tournaments down in Florida, you've got the Oklahomas, the Floridas, the Tennessees, the Vanderbilts are all hanging out in Florida while you're in, Fort Worth, Texas, playing TCU and Nicholls State and teams like that.
It's frustrating though, because you look at these,
TCU
you look at some of these scores as well, and these scores are listed on there.
Mhm.
But it's like the 6-5 loss against North Dakota State back on May 3rd. North Dakota State scored 3 runs in the first inning of that game, and you were playing from behind. There's a lot of these games, unfortunately, where Nebraska scores a good amount of runs, just couldn't get the pitching and defense to back you up. And it started from the get-go with San Diego, unfortunately, and you allowed 15, 31, 38 runs in your first 4 games.
That was the weekend of 8th inning collapses.
Yes.
Where Nebraska would have
That's
a lead
right.
going to the 8th and then just fall apart.
That's right. And so it's 2 things as we kind of put a bow on this conversation. It's margin for error extremely slim. And that makes, in turn, the quadrant 3 and quadrant 4 games just that much more important, because similar to basketball, those are the ones that aren't going to show up on your tourney resume or your regional resume come decision time unless you lose them. And Nebraska, unfortunately, once again, that record was 25-14-1 against teams that they what should I say? Teams that they
should have taken
quadrant 3 and quadrant 4 teams.
You should have taken care of business.
So, I just thought it was really interesting because it's also visually, if you do go over to Twitter and look at that, I think it might be, it's on my page. I know for sure. Just visually looking at how Vanderbilt, for that matter, plays, let's see, what was it? 33 plus 16, 49 games in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2, and then just 11 quadrant 3 and quadrant 4 opponents.
It is, yeah.
But it tells you also, in a way,
the scaling difference.
Yes, it also tells you in a way how much better those teams also can be, because here's Vanderbilt with a 41-18 record. Kentucky is second in the RPI with a 36-18 record, but Vanderbilt has a 41-18 record, and they played 39 conference opponents, or 39 quad 1 and quad 2 opponents. Yeah. I think I said 49 earlier. I meant 39.
It's a big number.
It's a lot more than just Nebraska's 9. That Nebraska went 2-7 against, unfortunately. So,
but they did beat Vanderbilt.
They beat Vanderbilt.
Nebraska will always have that.
Then they followed that up with an unfortunate loss to Ole Miss, and Ole Miss was not good
this year.
Ole Miss was not good. So let's go ahead and take a timeout. When we come back, got some more stuff. The NBA Finals matchup is set.
Yeah.
The Heat did not have to cancel or rebook their flights.
I really wished they did.
That's a thing. If we wanted to continue on baseball real quick, Rico, we were talking about it this morning vaguely, you and I, how there's teams having to stay in dorms.
Yep.
Because of a music festival.
Yep.
So we can talk about that. And then also later today, we'll discuss Jimmy Garoppolo, because he failed his physical. And I'm surprised Raph didn't mention it this morning, because
that opened the door for Tom Brady.
Because according to CBS Sports, if Jimmy Garoppolo is either cut or unable to play, whatever the case may be, don't forget Tom Brady talking about the Raiders. Does that open the door for a return?
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about all those things coming up in the next 25 minutes or so. But for right now, we'll be right back on the Happy Hour.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
This is Brian at Midwest Bank, and we've been proudly serving clients in the Lincoln community since 2008, and we're excited to open a second location in January 2024 at 70th and Pioneers Boulevard. Our new branch will provide all the convenient services you're looking for in a bank, along with the friendly staff we're known for. Whether you're starting a business or expanding your business, our team is here for you. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Find out more at MidwestBank.com, member FDIC.
Time for a new AC? Call Bryant. Get rebates now and lower operating costs every day. For comfort and efficiency, call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Junior Achievement of Lincoln inspires and prepares young people for success. Learn more about the people involved in the organization and the success stories over the years each Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. for the Junior Achievement Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
A smoke-free environment is the only way to fully protect from the dangers of secondhand smoke. That's why smoke-free policies are so important to me. Whether it's in my car, apartment building, or when I'm dining outdoors, there's no place for secondhand smoke or e-cigarette aerosol. Breathe easier knowing the facts. Visit smokefree.ne.gov. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
General contractors, business owners, property owners. The success of your business requires doing business with the right people. And the right people, when it comes to drywall, acoustical ceilings, and specialty products, are at Premier Drywall. Kevin and his crew will give your project the response and attention it deserves.
You'll get all of the attention to detail and quality that you would expect from someone who's been in the business for 30 years. For your new builds, build-outs, or renovations, reach out to Kevin. Kevin at PremierDW.com. Premier Drywall in Lincoln.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings. A lot of businesses say that they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business feels anything but for your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, as they do with customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
Steve's Garage Doors and Services is hiring. They are looking for a garage door installation and service technician with a clean driving record. Experience is not required as they will train for the positions. However, mechanical aptitude is required. If you want to come be a part of a small business where you're family, not just an employee, call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today to apply at 402-480-2840. That's 402-480-2840. Steve's Garage Doors and Services.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
I don't believe you people.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
What do you mean, you people? What do you mean, you people?
Sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick and Rico back with you. Good conversation there in the first segment regarding the college baseball regional and just RPI team sheets, if you will. You can check out all that information also at warrennolan.com. 402-464-5685, Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. Rico and I were having a conversation during the break because I came across the video of Jaylen Brown saying that by age 28, he was going to have 5 rings. And we were laughing because I told Rico I could never handle the kind of Twitter interaction that like a guy like Shams or Adrian Wojnarowski or Adam Schefter has.
Just the amount of publicity that they have and the famousness, is that a word?
I suppose
the amount
so.
of fame that they have in terms of breaking news.
Because there would be everybody I feel like goes through this or understands this
intrusive thoughts
where you're like, man, I really want to do this even though I know it would ruin a lot of things and it'd be really bad.
Credibility,
the outcome would be
mostly.
really bad. And I know that I would regret it, 30 minutes from now, but I really want to just do it just to see what happens.
But it would be so funny.
Right? And in that, I would thought, man, it'd be hilarious if Jaylen Brown or Shams just tweeted out like, yeah, if Jason wasn't here, I would have had 5 rings.
Would have had 5 rings if Tatum wasn't here.
And it just blows up instantly. And so then that, went down the rabbit hole for me and Rico. You're in this crossroads because I think you would obviously want notifications off.
Yeah.
But you also need to be careful because how are you going to be able to be first to break the news? Because there's also been the stories done on Shams and those guys don't sleep because especially during trade deadline times, because they want to be first.
Yes.
They have to be
part of their
the
job.
first team or first person to report it.
And they have their insiders. They have their people that feed them information. So the thing with having your notifications off is, and I know you can do this on your phone, is there's going to be certain apps that you silence your notifications for, and you've got to tell people like, look, my Twitter notifications are silenced. Do not DM me on Twitter if you have any information. Text me, call me, text this phone because they have multiple phones. We've seen it before. Adam Schefter's been on live television when breaking news is happening. He's just looking at his phone. And he's like, I got to take this, and he just takes his headphones off and he like walks away. So I have multiple phones. So you're telling these people like, look, text me on this number, call me on this number, and we'll get the details figured out, and I'll hit send on the tweet. And they have to have like drafts, like saved
100%
with like templates for certain but for a trade. He has like a template saved for a trade for somebody retiring, for somebody getting signed, or like they have to have these templates because I can't imagine sitting there getting the news. You're on one of your phones and you're sitting there tweeting out on this one, like you make a spelling mistake. They don't want to make mistakes.
Well, think about it this way, Rico, is they have to type it out and report it fast, but not too fast, simply because they can't. If they're typing on a draft, they don't want to hit that send button.
Nope. Because you want to make sure you get all of the details ironed out. Or at least you be very vague with it. Like, so-and-so has signed with, Jimmy G has signed with the Raiders.
That's it.
And that's all you put. Breaking news. Jimmy Garoppolo signs with the Raiders. Also, like names like that where you have to make sure you get the spelling right. You don't want to look like a fool there. You say that, and then you just start the thread there where like sources are telling me that it's however many years, however much money with these types of incentives, blah, like all of this stuff going on in there. Or if you get all the information right away, you have to have that person like either type, like when they send it to you, send everything, make sure it's all correct. You have to make sure it's correct. Or if they're telling you that to repeat it like multiple times so that you may, like, I would hate that job.
It's
like, I always want to, we joke about how, on the happy hour, we break news all the time, stuff at Nebraska happens and we break the news.
Yeah.
I would hate to be the breaking news person that people are just like, hey, this is about to happen. This is going to happen. When do you send it early?
But think about
because what if it changes? Like, what is it? Tom Brady's first retirement. That one dude that just tweeted out, like Tom Brady starts to tell me he's going to retire like today. And Tom Brady's like, nope. And then he waited a couple of days. Like, now you look like a fool.
I wonder, the adrenaline rush has to be just gigantic,
just immense,
to where they're just hooked on it.
I mean, it would feel amazing, but we also talked about, if you do happen to be one of the first or the early people to one of those tweets, like a Woj or a Sham tweet. I was telling Nick how during NBA offseason, when, people were signing things, I had their notifications turned on so I could see if the Knicks got anybody. And I saw one, clicked on it immediately, and I hit like because I think it was the Jalen Brunson one.
Yeah.
And I hit like, and as I hit it, it was like thousands of likes. Like mine was like, 5,752. Like that's how many likes. But I thought I was one of the first people to it. but so many people have those notifications on, and so many people like them, retweet them, and comment so quickly that I can't imagine if you had your notifications for Twitter on your phone and you're one of those guys, your phone, first of all, is going to be on fire. It's going to be so hot from all of the notifications. And if you have vibrate on, it's going to fall off of whatever table or make a hole through whatever table you have it on.
Rico, what is your screen time right now? What's your daily
How do I check
average?
that?
So go to settings and just scroll down to where it says screen time.
Okay.
And it should just pop up with the daily average.
Settings. Screen time. What's yours?
3 hours and 15 minutes.
3 hours and 51, which is
Okay.
down 48% from last week.
Do you have an idea? This article came out from The Athletic.
It has theirs?
Has theirs.
Oh.
Well, just Shams. Just Shams.
Just Shams? It's got to be
April 5th, 2023.
Ooh.
Do you know how to say his last name?
Not a clue.
Is it Karania?
I don't know.
It's always just Shams.
That's why he Shams.
Okay, good. So this article came out April 5th, 2023.
It's got to be like 15 hours.
And this is the headline. NBA reporter Shams, last name, says he averages over 17 hours of screen time per day. 17 hours of screen time per day.
If you talk to my wife, that's what I average.
The NBA Insider recently revealed that he averages around 17 hours of screen time a day, and that numbers will climb to 20 hours per day around important events like the trade deadline, leaving him with 2 to 3 hours to sleep each day.
Oh my goodness.
He is 29 years old.
Is he like married?
I don't think so.
Can you imagine having that job and having kids?
No way.
There's no way you could do it, right? Because they don't even go on vacations. Because they could be on vacation and something could happen.
That's true. There was an article where he talked about.
Can they work out? Do they work out?
Well, Shams is in decent shape, so I would assume that he at least works out.
I mean, he has those 2 hours to sleep. How's he going to work out?
That's crazy. He's 29 years old from Chicago, Illinois. Wow. Went to Loyola University.
How do you even get started in the breaking news business? Like, how do you
I don't know.
How do you get in?
Like,
this is more of a DP question. How do you get insiders, and how do the insiders, because these are people that work for these NBA franchises mostly.
Yep.
I don't know who they are, but they're the ones feeding this information. And these teams have to know.
Like, it's like Shams is an American sports reporter for The Athletic and Stadium, where he covers the NBA. So, hey, Shams just tweeted out the Chicago Bulls have started contract extension talks with Nikola Vucevic.
There you go.
Sweet. Because Lonzo's never playing again, I guess.
Blame the Triple B shoes.
Which is wild. There's a lot of stuff we could talk about.
They weren't very good shoes.
The Triple B shoes may have ruined Lonzo's career.
Did you ever meet anybody that had a pair?
No.
I did. They're not good. They were not good quality shoes.
Shams also tweeted out, reporting soon on a key Celtics player who was playing through a previously undisclosed health matter in Game 7.
Everybody's playing through a health matter when they lose.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But also, if it's serious, I apologize.
Well, my goodness. I pulled up a live stream of the stadium show that they're doing right now.
Yeah.
And Shams is on his phone.
Yep. That's it.
The man just never stops.
They talk while they have their phone. I can imagine, like, they have the camera, like they stream in from wherever they're at. They have the camera there and they have their phone just on, just right there with somebody just like, looking at there, and somebody's just like scrolling on it for them so that they see what's going on. Ridiculous.
I cannot. What do you do for 17 hours on your phone? Are people texting you every single hour of the day?
Like, they get paid a lot, but that has to be, and I could be wrong, that has to be a terrible life.
All right, Shams' net worth, $5 million.
Yeah, they get paid a lot, but that has to be I can't imagine that that's actually fun.
That's what it's got to be the adrenaline rush. So, November. So this comes from November 26, 2022. Sham's annual compensation as a sports reporter at the Athletic is roughly $47,000, but his net worth is $5 million. I'm not sure if I believe that.
He probably gets. Well, he had podcasts and stuff.
Yeah, you got. There's
he
a lot
gets
of
paid
side
for
gigs.
his appearances.
Yeah,
I wonder. How much do you think he gets paid from like Twitter?
Oh, that's
because that's a lot of engagement.
That's a good point. Is that they get because in a way, I suppose they're influencers.
Yeah, like we're in the breaking news business, but we're not in the breaking news business.
Yeah. Dang, that's crazy to think about. That's crazy to think about. Let's go ahead and take our final timeout. When we come back, we will be joined by Stricken Austin. We'll talk maybe a little Lonzo Ball because that was something that happened over the weekend as well.
You sad.
It did because Lonzo was okay.
He was coming into his own.
But then we'll also be joined by those guys. We'll talk about Jimmy G a little bit, as well as maybe we get more information on how you get into be a Shams or an Adrian Wojnarowski or even an Adam Schefter. So we'll do all that to round out Tuesday's show coming up next on the Happy Hour.
Download our app by searching 93.7 Ticket and Store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-660-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and we are celebrating a record sales month in April, and we're going to let it roll and crank up in the month of May. We have some big discounts and special interest rates going on this month on selected new in-stock Sierras and Silverados. Buy a new Silverado or Sierra, get $3,000 off or 1.9% interest. You heard right, $3,000 off or 1.9% interest. We have outstanding specials on all of our new and pre-owned GM units. So stop on in and see us or check us out online at coppellcars.com. You'll be glad you did. New discount must trade in and finance with the roof credit.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment, schooler, and sports for yourself and your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. At Nashville Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Ultra every day at 7 p.m. and all Sunday. And make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
Spring is here, and it's time to wake up Judson. Judson Irrigation is eager and ready to get your sprinkler system up and running for the season. Judson's technicians will check for winter damage, adjust your sprinkler heads, and show you how to set your controller for effective sprinkling coverage. The Judson Irrigation team is here for you. Stay safe.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Look at your car. It's filthy and probably has a few dings and nicks all over it. Don't be that guy. Get it upgraded and repaired at Renew Your Auto. At Renew Your Auto, they offer tons of services: ceramic coating, window tinting, paintless dent repair, washes and details, bed liners, body, and more. Where can you go to get services like that all in one place? Schedule your appointment today at renewyourauto.com. See what Renew can do for you.
This is Brian at Midwest Bank, and we've been proudly serving clients in the Lincoln community since 2008, and we're excited to open a second location in January 24 at 70th and Pioneers Boulevard. Our new branch will provide all the convenient services you're looking for in a bank, along with the friendly staff we're known for. Whether you're starting a business or expanding your business, our team, your community, Midwest. Find out more at midwestbank.com, member FDIC.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNT for 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to The Happy Hour with Nick House of Learned Doctors and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
As soon as your eyes shut, I'm going to punch you square in the face.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Honda Lincoln Hotline, Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Allo channel 951 if you want to watch us on television as well. We are now joined by Austin, and it looks like Strick is on stream. Not sure if he can hear us. Stricky, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay.
Am I good? Yeah.
There he goes. Awesome. Yeah, sweet.
Sorry, I was doing a little finagling over here to get things all connected and ready to go.
Perfect. So we're joined by Austin and Strick. Guys, we were talking a little earlier about Lonzo Ball because reports came out over the weekend that the Chicago Bulls don't believe that he'll be able to play
ever again,
ever for whether the Bulls are in the NBA strictly. And they think it's a big reason is because of the big baller brand shoes. Just a crazy development because it was a situation where he was like the first, obviously, Ball brother to start all of this. Yeah. And now his career might be over because of the shoe and the way his dad was acting.
Well, when he was with the Lakers, there were reports saying that he had to change his shoes every quarter because he was ripping through them.
They're blowing out.
Because they were they weren't very good quality. Yeah. Not great. Pretty bad.
Well, especially if you're trying to sell it for $300. Like they were doing something crazy. Yeah, go ahead, Austin.
Yeah. No, that's just what I was going to say. I mean, as expensive as they are, and I completely missed that over the weekend, but it looks like they were going to try some experimental surgery. And if you have to try an experimental surgery to replace cartilage, that can't be a good sign.
Well, he's had a couple surgeries already where it was like, all right, Lonzo might be close to coming back, and then he would not pass, whether it was a physical or a workout or whatever they required him to do. And they'd say, all right, we're going to go back and we're going to try to make it better. And it just never got better until over the weekend when they're like, all right, yeah, there's people internally that don't think he's ever going to play.
That's a tough spot to be in too, as a player, because at what point do you say, no, it's not worth it? I mean, the strain, not just on the knee that he has an issue with, but mentally putting in that grind to get back supposedly close to playing, fall short or hurt it again. Because it's one thing if the team cuts bait with you, but then you can, I'm sure find some motivation. Okay, well, they didn't want me. Someone else will.
Yeah.
I'll keep putting in that work. But Strick, I'm sure you've been around guys that have dealt with, recurring injuries like this. What's it like watching them deal with it and how their mindset works from the first injury to near the end of the road?
I mean, it's really frustrating. It's one of those things where you're really disappointed about the fact that you're not able, one, to get out there and work with your team. And then the second part is you're frustrated because you're not able to do the things that you've been used to doing. You're usually used to just being able to move and cut and be athletic. Just look at what it did to Derrick Rose's career. Like Derrick Rose probably would have been way more ahead of himself in his career than when he actually had the injuries and it took away from a lot of what he did so well. And so when you see it happen to guys like that are extremely athletic and use that to their benefit, it can be really frustrating.
Strick, what shoes did you wear?
Coming in, I was with Nike at some point, and then I went with Reebok. I really was trying to get on with the Allen Iverson 3s. I thought those were the best shoes I ever played in, and but wasn't able to get them to do that. That was specific to Allen, so I wore Reebok shoes up until I retired.
Gotcha. Last thing here really quickly, guys. Jimmy Garoppolo fails his physical over the weekend, or it comes out over the weekend that he fails his physical, and there's a chance that, well, he's going to need surgery on something, but there's on a foot, I believe, is where it looks like. There's a chance. Do we think Tom Brady comes back in place of Jimmy G if Jimmy G gets cut? I don't think he does, but according to CBS Sports, he's the favorite.
It's very possible that that can happen because there's a clause. Sometimes you have injury clauses but there's a clause in his that it could happen. So it's very possible that they could release him and then wait to see what happens to him, save money on their books, and then if he's able to get back, then bring him back at some point. But I don't know for sure if the teams will allow Tom Brady, because they have to have at least 32 teams. I mean, Austin and I talked about this. There's a real minute clause that would allow that to happen, but you have some animosity between them in New England a little bit, kind of on his leaving there, and some things happen down in Miami. It's supposed to really kind of work that. So you have a couple. Will Tampa Bay sign off on it? So you've got at least 3 outliers to where you're saying, it's going to make it pretty tight for that to happen. So you have to have all 33 agree. Or 32.
I wanted to look at their roster, and
it's bad.
Yeah,
it's not good.
So their quarterback situation plays out as such. Jimmy Garoppolo is their starter, and their next 2 quarterbacks are Brian Hoyer, who is 37 years old.
Is Stidham still there?
And Aiden O'Connell.
AOC.
No.
There's also a guy named Chase Garbers.
Southern Miss.
California. That's what it says.
Oh, I was thinking Nick Mullins.
Yeah, no, Chase Garbers.
Nick Mullins was Southern Miss. That's
Chase
right.
Garbers, who is he was with the Raiders last year, or he's 1 year in the NFL. 23 years old, quarterback out of Cal.
USA Today. Broncos quietly made quarterback Jarrett Stidham a priority in free agency. Imagine making Jarrett Stidham
a priority
free agent.
Yeah.
That's great.
You know who will turn this team around?
Jarrett Stidham.
Did you say the Broncos too? When they have Russell Wilson.
Well, see, that's my next question.
The Broncos.
Jimmy G is the 3rd best quarterback in that division, depending on what you think about Russ. It was if Tom Brady ends up playing for the Raiders, is he 3rd as well? Is he 2nd?
He's 3rd.
I don't know where.
Nah, he's 2nd.
I don't know where I put Herbert.
Herbert is last.
Herbert is not last.
Herbert is last.
Herbert is better than Garoppolo.
He doesn't like Herbert.
What has Herbert done?
I'm in that boat too.
Nothing.
I just think, would you take Justin Herbert or Jimmy G?
Herbert.
Jimmy G.
In a heartbeat.
Wow. Rico.
Strick, what about you? Herbert or Garoppolo?
I think it's situational for me. It's very situational. And let me know, can you hear that noise?
Yes.
A little bit.
All right. So it's very situational for me because it depends on the team. Whether Jimmy would have so really it depends on the style, the team. If he doesn't have to do a whole bunch, I like Jimmy. I think if he's got a lot of pieces, he's going to manage the game. He's not going to make a lot of mistakes and cause issues and problems and turnovers. I think Justin sometimes gets in trouble because he tries to thread and he tries to hit tight windows and he tries to sometimes do too much.
But which is easier, asking Justin Herbert to dial it back and be more of a game manager, or asking Jimmy Garoppolo to grow into physical traits that he can't develop?
If you put Jimmy G on that Chargers roster right now, I guarantee they make the playoffs.
No, he's going to get hurt anyways.
And I guarantee
you can't move the goalpost.
And then I guarantee that they'll do something that Justin Herbert hasn't been able to do: win a playoff game.
They did get that. I mean, that Jaguars loss, man, Josh, you were down 27-0 at half. Trevor Lawrence throws 4 picks in that first half, and they come back. You could not even score a field goal in that second half.
That's all you need. One field goal drive.
I mean, goodness.
Quarterback.
Well, is that on Herbert or is that on the defense?
It's on both, because look, even if the defense is giving up touchdowns, guess what? You were up by enough where all you had to do was get one field goal drive, and you couldn't even get there.
Nope.
What makes the whole San Diego Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers interesting is Austin Eckler requested a trade, then comes back, and you just don't know.
Does you request another?
Where he's at. Like they brought him back, obviously, so he's going to be with LA for the time being. But
he's what, 30 something, 28 only. Wow, he's only 28.
That is born in Lincoln.
That is an old 28.
Born in Lincoln, Nebraska. Austin Eckler.
Look at that.
Do you know Rico?
Uh-oh.
And Strick.
I don't know Rico. Who's that?
And Strick can be in this one as well. Trivia question before we get out of here.
Okay.
Where did Austin Eckler play college ball at? And I know Austin probably knows this because he probably just Googled him.
I feel like I know this.
It is a smaller school. He was, remember, signed in 2017 as an undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
Was it San Jose State?
No. Rico? Closer to Nebraska. Got to pick somewhere.
Colorado State.
Western Colorado.
I was in the right state.
Austin Eckler goes to Western Colorado.
I have a quick question.
Only 5'10".
I have a question though.
Decent for running back. What?
And I want to throw this to the happy hour group. Listen, does Zeke get signed?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Does Zeke start? No.
Yeah.
Does he sign if he doesn't start?
But where's a good fit for Zeke?
Yes.
Do you see where? Like
Philly?
where?
Baltimore.
Maybe.
I don't know. Where do you think, Strick? If he's not going to be the number one back, I mean, Miles Sanders took that role last year. And if you want maybe a guy that can, I don't know, be a bruiser, but like he also has fumble issues. So do you really trust Zeke down by the goal line? Like I don't know. That's a good point. I don't know, Strick. Where do you see it?
I think if anything, I don't see. I thought like maybe a team like Tampa, but then they had such a bad experience with Leonard Fournette that I don't see that happening. But I was thinking maybe something like that, or maybe Miami. Somebody that's going to need some type of good heady guy that can handle himself in the pass game. Can also possibly catch. I think he's got to be a third down guy. I don't think he has the quickness to hit the holes like he used to, unless he's, had a Undertaker experience or rise from the dead experience. Unless that happens, I just don't see it.
Does Zeke go somewhere cold weather, or does he choose to go somewhere warm weather, whether he starts or not?
That's a great question. I let Austin handle that one.
Does Cincy take him if Mixon's issues don't get resolved?
Ooh, yes.
I can see that. I can see that.
I like that a lot.
That's a good fit.
I'm also curious. Maybe we can dive into this more. Who are the least attractive NFL teams going into next season? Because like a Tampa Bay is interesting for me if you're on offense. Because it's like, okay, you have Chris Godwin, obviously, and Mike Evans. Trey Palmer, by the way, listed a second right behind Mike Evans on the depth chart.
They really like him. They really like him.
But running back, you have Rashad White and then Baker Mayfield under center. So that'll do it for us. Stick around on the block. Strick and Austin. And coming up next, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Adios.
Okay, old buddy, I took you through the car wash and drove you out to your favorite dirt road to talk something. Well, I'll tell you. Trucks and bucks from the Nebraska Lottery's back, and I'm just going to buy some tickets, that's all. No reason to get upset. Of course you mean a lot to me. But this year, the Nebraska Lottery's giving away 8 Atlas Blue 2023 Ford F-150 XLT Super Crew Flex Fuel trucks. I mean, these things are gorgeous. And what happens if I win one? Hey, you'll still be part of the family. I thought maybe I'd give you to my nephew, Josh. He's not a terrible driver. He only left the gas nozzle in his tank and drove off once. Okay, twice.
Ford F-150 is a registered trademark owned and licensed by Ford Motor Company. Top prize odds 1 in 336,000.
Celebrate the start of June in style with 2 great drinking events in Lincoln. First, this Friday, come down to Beer House's grand opening as they show off their expansion to double the size of their building. The party's 3 p.m. with live folk music. And Saturday, plans to